Filterløs Hiphop, mand. I lytter til Peter Pagh, international hiphop-formidler. Vi er klar med nye, skarpe skud. Per Vers har skudt sin jubilæumsudstilling af. Det er sidste skud i bøssen for at finde ud af, hvem der skød Tupac. Og Gaffa har skudt sig selv i foden. Alt det, plus et kæmpestort interview med Skam2, manden bag meget Eminems artwork. Det kan I få lige præcis i det her afsnit, så fyr den af med det.
Du lytter til Filterløs Hiphop med Peter Pagh.
Den er god nok, mand. Filterløs Hiphop. Vi er tilbage. Du ligger, som du har ret. Det er nye tider, men det er samme format. Og det her er simpelthen et afsnit, som kommer til at handle om alt det, der er sket efter sommerferien. Alle de her fede hiphop-ting er begyndt at starte op. Der er røre i andedam. Hvad har vi lavet alle sammen? Det kommer til at blive fedt. Og så kommer vi også til at kigge på, hvad der kommer til at ske ud i fremtiden. Og så kommer det her, som jeg varslede i introen. Den her nye visuelle intro, som jeg håber, alle vil like og subscribe på Instagram og TikTok og så videre. Tjek op for det. Og så kommer vi til, jeg tænker det første, jeg skal afsløre, og det er nærmest sådan en kæmpestor ting, det er, at Glostrup Street Party nok engang kommer til at gå ned ude i Glostrup. Det er jo som sagt på P-pladsen uden for Glostrup Stadion, ligger lige over for Vestervangskolen, Stadionvej, tænker jeg, den stadigvæk hedder. Og så tænker jeg, at der skal man tage ud, det skal man den 29. august. Der kommer et væld af fede rapper, der kommer masser af fed street art. LA DJ binder det hele sammen. Vi taler rapper som David Atlanter, vi taler Carlo Ahead, vi taler syndikeret. Der kommer til at være alt muligt fedt derude. Og så trækker jeg simpelthen mit filterløs udstyr derud, så man kan se noget live podcast. Jeg håber, det bliver transmitteret live, ellers så bonder jeg i hvert fald en masse, og så tager vi det med hjem. Og så håber jeg jo, det kunne være eksklusiv, hvis vi kunne få noget med ingen ringere end The Big One from Boogie Down Bronx, KRS-One, Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone, kæmpe stor rapper, whoop whoop, that's the sound of the police, alt det der. Han kommer jo så til Glostrup. Fra Boogie Down Bronx og til Glostrup. Der bliver æder med kickboller og Glostrup, når man ser KRS-One komme til Glostrup. Okay, I don't know, man. Men det vigtige er, at jeg går selvfølgelig hårdt efter at få ham i den her lille podcast. Det kunne være konge. Han er på vej til Malmø den dag, så det er ikke sikkert, at han sådan lige har tid til at kigge forbi verdens hyggeligste studie. Nu sendt ud i virkeligheden. Jeg håber også, det bliver hyggeligt derude. Men det kunne med være bomben, hvis der kommer nogen forbi. Jeg kommer til i næste uge at lave sådan en KRS-One explainer, hvor man lige får et hurtigt indblik i, hvem er han, hvorfor er han så fed, og hvorfor skal man komme til Glostrup og kigge på Chris One. Jeg er 100% meget beæret over, at de vil give plads til det her lille bitte talkshow, og samtidig så håber jeg også, at man kan trække nogle københavnere ud, eller endda nogen fra Jylland. Jeg har da hørt, der kommer folk fra Kolding og alt muligt. Så på den måde, så tænker jeg, at det vil være fedt, hvis det bliver en celebration, når han kommer til byen. En anden, der kommer til byen, det er en anden af mine store helte. Det er simpelthen ingen ringere end Lord Finesse, jo fra samme bydel som KRS-One. I never could figure out who's the best. If it ain't Lord Finesse, then it must be KRS, som Fat Jojo meget fint kvæder. Så der er store folk på vej. Det er på loppen. Det er 6. september. Det tænker jeg også, man skal tjekke op for. For ligesom at lægge stemningen til den koncert, så tænker jeg, at vi kan lige tage en lille snas af The Funky Man himself, Lord Finesse, og høre, hvordan det lyder, når han rapper. Kommer her.
Blowing up spots from state to state.
Finesse coming to town. My decision is precision. I'm ill in ways you can't vision. I got niggas worshiping Lord Finesse like religion. You can't fuck around, you're kidding. You don't want no collision. You better fly south like a pigeon. Good riddance. I flip flows you can't imagine. I break down your Flintstone style into fragments. So pay attention to the man rapping. Don't think that it can't. I'm living proof it can happen. I reign supreme, logical, verbally I drop it in ways that you never dreamed possible. So lyrically, I personally figure that my Harvard style is too deep for you nursery niggas. When I clutch the mic, I'm coming rough and right. I build more than them workers on construction sites. I'm skilled at it, I'm illmatic. So yes answers your question if you ask me, do I still have it? I'm the realest, the illest. coming out the woodworks like them homos in the village. But seriously, I got the remedy if I was at the bottom of the toilet. You niggas still couldn't shit on me originally. It's the same vet, I'm on that get rich list, but they didn't call my name yet. I make it special like a prom night, I bomb mics while other brothers are old news like what the Cronkite is critical. You got these Xerox individuals with word life, it ain't nothing like the original. I wreck kids, that's my theory and perspective when it comes to hip-hop. I'm on the case like detectives. You better step to the next man, cause the greatest soccer player couldn't kick it like Finesse can.
Cause the greatest soccer player couldn't kick it like Finesse can. Hold kæft en konge. Ham glæder jeg mig sindssygt til at se. Jeg har allerede været beæret med at se en hel masse legender sommeren over. Nogle af dem gode gamle. Østkyst Hustler spillede kraftedeme nede på Nørrebro, spillede på Blågårds Plads, rev det rundt. Det var rigtig fedt. De har fået John Vincent og hans orkester til at komme og være backup for tiden. Meget, meget fint, og altid en fornøjelse at se Hustlerne. Og så jeg Einar, MC Einar, sammen med DJ Jan og Vilmand. Simpelthen, de har jo udgivet en ny plade, branchens tunge drenge, som de holdt release for. De holdt release ned for en Records, som også har udgivet pladen. Og først så spillede de hele pladen fra start til slut, og bagefter så spillede de bare en hel masse fede numre. Kongeaften. Fedt for mig, fedt for min dreng. Pelles yndlingsrapper er jo MC Einar, Old Dirty Bastard. Virkelig, virkelig glad for, at han stadigvæk kan se MC Einar, fordi ODB, han bliver jo svær at se, kan man sige. Men fed aften. Voksen Simon, min storebror Voksen Simon, var også dernede. Jeg har optaget en lille snas af et af numrene. Det tænker jeg, det kan I også få lov at høre.
Det var dengang, der brødrene og jeg gik i gang. Posen mødtes til de underligste undergrundsfester. Og alle sammen kom for at høre rimesmesterne. Bombestilling op.
Ja, man, rimesmester, MC Einar. Og så spillede de jo altså alle de her nye numre fra branchens tunge drenge. En EP, som man jo ikke kan streame, i hvert fald endnu. Man kan købe den for cash money, man kan købe den nede ved Records, og den har en bravende flot forside, som Timmy One-Liner Mensa har malet et maleri til Einar og Vilmand og Jan, hvor man ser dem ligesom køre i en lowrider gennem Christianshavn, som så er en tribute til et billede, han har lavet af Kool Herc, som igen er en tribute til en videooptagelse af Kool Herc fra 80'erne. Meget, meget hiphop, meget, meget blæret det hele. Jeg tænker, jeg har faktisk mulighed for at spille en lille smule af et af numrene. Mine yndlingsnumre på den, der er jo numre fra både Elron Harald har skrevet et, Per V har skrevet et, Allan Hylbak har skrevet et, og så har Salig Pelle Møller, han har skrevet 2 numre til MC Einar. De spillede også et af numrene til Pelles livsfest, altså da han gik bort, hvor de spillede det i Søndermarken, og det synes jeg simpelthen var en meget, meget rørende oplevelse, og det er fedt, at en så dygtig tekstforfatter som Pelle, han har sat nogle ord på noget af det, som Einar og Vilmand og Jan, de gerne vil fortælle i vore dage. De har jo ramt 60, så på den måde, så synes jeg, det er ret blæret, at de her jo tunge drenge, og i et eller andet omfang også aldrende hiphopper, stadigvæk har et kongefedt flow, rigtig fede ting at sige. Jeg tænker, vi tager noget af det nummer, som hedder Manden på resten. Blæret nummer, rigtig fedt, og en fornøjelse, det der med, at de 2 første rapper, I skal høre i det her program, det er Lord Finesse og MC Einar. Det tegner godt for programmet, det vil jeg sige. Hey man, Manden på resten.
Til han går i seng midt i mængden, mens han tigger til småpenge, er han hjemløs eller stukket af for folk, fuld af selvhad eller bare alkohol. Alt for få giver ham en mønt i hånden, det synes som den sørgeligste ønskebrønd. Jeg tænker, hvor må han sover? Han tilhører ikke underklassen, han er til overs, har du set ham? For det har jeg. Han lever i et paradis af paria, og vi stikker til ham, til han bliver syg. Mennesket må være malaria. Det er manden på resten. Før var han fattig, så fandt han flasken.
Lærer shit, hvis du spørger mig. Jeg synes, der er god flow i nummeret. Der er rigtig fede tekster. Anbefalesværdigt. Det var Einar, vi var ude til. Finesse, han er på vej til byen. KRS er på vej til byen. Og Per Vers, han har simpelthen lanceret, at han også er på vej, fordi han spiller faktisk den 10., 11. og 12. september på sceneriet i Det Nye Teater. Der spiller han sådan en koncert, som er et slags kavalkade gennem hans liv. Man ser løbende optagelser fra Det Nye Teater, hvor man kan se, hey man, muligvis er der en wrestlingring. Muligvis er der Per, der kommer ind i boksetøjet fra dengang han vandt MC's Fight Night. Muligvis, der kommer til at ske alle mulige ting, så jeg kan kun anbefale, at man kommer ind til det. Som opvarmning, så kan man jo eventuelt tage ind i Drips, hvor Per han også holdt en forrygende, skal man sige, fernisering, en release-koncert for den her nye plade, han har lavet, som hedder V gange V, som jeg tænker skal læses som romertallet V, det vil sige, det er 5 gange 5, det er 25, og det er så de 25 år, hvor Per V, han har været soloartist. Han har jo lavet noget med Sund Fornuft tidligere end det, men det her er ligesom en opsummering af alt det, der er sket i den periode, hvor han vinder MC's Fight Night, og bliver en af, hvad kan man sige, Danmarks ganske få professionelle rapper, som faktisk kan leve af sit virke. Jeg tænker, at det er virkelig vildt, at han har kunne være så produktiv, og samtidig have så højt et niveau af finurligheder, og alle mulige blærede ting, som er simpelthen det hjerteblod, han har valgt at putte ind i en kæmpestor, den ligner en ghetto blaster. Det er sådan en boombox-box, hvor man får 3 nyudgivende album. Samtidig så får man også en bajer, man får en mønt, man får alle mulige ting. Så den er anbefalesværdig. Og så i det hele taget, det var en fed release at være til. Per, han var rigtig sjov, han freestylede. I kan prøve at høre et klip, hvor han freestyler om mig.
Imens de alle sammen følger med på den livestream. Der er nogen, der optager, nogen, der optager, nogen, der optager. Og det er sådan, man gør, når man er hiphop-far. Det er nemlig rigtigt, Peter, fordi vi er alle sammen nogle paurer, men også funky poeter. Så vi er alle sammen samlet her i baggården. Jeg får lyst til at rappe helt til den lyse morgen. Men problemet er, at der er mere end en nabo, der ligesom hader vores rap-show. Som siger en gang, så var der en café, den fik vi lukket. Så bliver man lidt duknakket, så må man hellere få den lukket.
Stærkt arbejde, og så skylder jeg i øvrigt også at sige, at der også er en hel del dedikeret til salig Jeppe Bisgaard, som jo skrev i mix og var formativ jo både for Per og for mig. Så hvis man tager ned til Drip, så kan man se stort set alle de klummer, som Jeppe han skrev til mixbladet, sat op på væggen og læse alle mulige. Og det bliver sådan en lidt hiphop-historie, fordi der er faktisk mange af de ting, som Jeppe skriver om fra de her år, lad os sige det sådan noget a 89 til 93, eller noget i den stil, hvor det, altså, der er jo en masse af de her fortællinger, som vi kun kender, fordi at Jeppe han har valgt at fortælle det. Nogle af dem blev aldrig til noget, det var nogle brancherygter, han valgte at fortælle videre, og andet, det er simpelthen sådan helt exclusively, hey, nu kommer Big Daddy Kane til København, bliver det ikke fedt for os alle sammen, lad os tage ind til det. Så kæmpe shout-out, der er jo et fedt billede af Jeppe og mig, som står og er helt vildt glade til Jeppes 40-års fødselsdag. Så på den måde, kæmpe oplevelse. Og hvis man ikke ser det billede, så se de 10.000 andre billeder af Per V. Læs de tekster, jeg har skrevet om ham. Og så grib et af de her, hvad kan man sige, ferniseringsmagasiner, hvor dels er der Gaffas, hvad kan man sige, fortælling om Per V, som jeg har skrevet i anledning af hans 50-års fødselsdag. Det er sådan en festskrift. Og så har Politikken lavet et interview med ham i samme ombæring, som handler om Per som menneske, og det er skidespændende, det er flot pakket ind med et virkelig, virkelig flot billede. Så på den måde, jeg tror, det er gratis. Skynd jer ned i Drips og få fat i sådan et i hvert fald. Apropos Gaffa, mand, det er jo altid spændende at snakke om. De lavede jo en top 11 over fede danske rappere. De valgte at kalde den de bedste danske rappere. En top 11 over de bedste danske rappere. Og det opdagede Monte Carlo. Han opdagede det på en måde, hvor han blev lidt knotten over. For det første så pointerede han, der er godt nok mange på den her liste, som måske ikke har lavet så meget, men det vigtige var egentlig, i lang tid så har Gaffa kæmpet for at få fokus på, at der også findes kvindelige rapper, og dem er de så fuldstændig valgt ikke at have på den her liste. Hvortil Gaffa jo så laver en top 13, hvor de jo blandt andet har Nyx med og kvalificerer han Nyx med ved at have et, hvad kan man sige, et citat fra en anmeldelse, som yours truly havde skrevet, men jeg har jo slet ikke haft noget med den her liste at gøre. Og som Carlos han også siger, det føles lidt som som velgørenhed, at kvinderne er kommet på. Jeg tænker, jeg prøver at lave en eller anden form for explainer omkring det. Sådan noget homie kendt in hiphop i forhold til den der. Men det, der så også er sket i det, og det synes jeg er forholdsvis sjovt, det er selvfølgelig, at folk begynder at lave deres egne top 10, top 20, top 13 lister over fede danske rappere. Jeg prøvede også at lave en, men det er simpelthen kedeligt for jer, hvis der bare er en top 13, hvor der kun er ålen på alle pladserne. Men en anden, som har lavet en, det er Peter Pagh, og han har simpelthen lavet en liste. For det første er den bladet, fordi Stormester Henning er på den. Men for det andet, så får han også sagt nogle virkelig, virkelig real ting om det at være en dansk rapper, som jo bare har, hvad kan man sige, et tårnhøjt niveau. Jeg synes, hans plade var genial. Men hvordan får man noget opmærksomhed, når man ikke lige er den, der er i søgelyset for at ryge masser af cigaretter og have en eller anden sjov hætte på. Så på den måde, så han har lavet nummer om det. Det handler også lidt om DJ Static. Jeg synes, det er blæret. Og jeg har fået lov til at spille det sådan lidt exclusively. Jeg har fået MP3'en, så jeg boster den nu.
De har ikke hørt efter. Hvorfor sover de på mig? De tager en tårn af roseblåner, burde stoppe og beundre. I stedet for at komme til shows, så sidder de på trokken og scroller med attention span i 12 sekunder. Gaffas top 11, der var ikke nogen kvinder. Gaffas top 13, stadig ikke nogen Peter. Er du gale choller move på flere niveauer, og så skal jeg holde mig cool og ikke blive sur, men bare op mit game høfligt ligger på lur. Jeg siger det, fucker med min brain, jeg vil ikke være toer. Pick and show, så taler goats til pølsesnak, men okay, lad mig bidrage til det gidemarked. Det går Defi, Pelle, tre pakker virkelig. Slalom, Nyx, Hvem, Carlos, Hampen, Lang og Per Vers. Stormester Henning, Uso, Spes, Rux, Flammen og Clemens. De er alle sammen næstbedst, det er bare min mening. Så fik vi lukket diskussionen, ikke mere snak om tingene. Med stuesnakken stopper ingen avl af business. Helt seriøst, jeg synes jeg her er god. Danmarks bedste rapper, hvis jeg selv skal sige det, og det skal jeg jo. Det sagde Super Jan, lær det uden ad. Hold dig vågen, drik din mælk og lav din rap og spis din råbrødsmad. Så der stadig ikke inviterer Peter på sin rolige plade, har han sovet lidt for tung på, hvad der sker i hovedstaden. Jeg mener, selvfølgelig skal jeg blive fornærmet, udgav en plade, fik udsolgt release-koncerten. Ikke fordi jeg skriger efter mere beef på tallerkenen, men rapper sover på mig som prinsessepiger på ærten. Okay, det er sådan her, vi kommer til at gøre det, okay? Fuck Gaffas som et musikmagasin, som en prisuddeler og som et motherfucking crew. Og hvis du er nede med Gaffas, så render hopper også til dig, ikke? Og fuck DJ okay, altså, jeg synes jo stadig, har lavet meget fede plader og sådan noget, ikke? Jeg forstår bare ikke, hvorfor han ikke lige slidede ind i DM, du ved ikke? Jeg har aldrig mødt manden, han er sikkert flik nok, han har bare ikke hørt efter. Hvorfor sover de på mig? De tager en tårn af roseblåner, burde stoppe og beundre. I stedet for at komme til shows, så sidder de på trokken og scroller med attention span i 12 sekunder. Hør du efter? Hvorfor sover de på mig? De tager en tårn af roseblåner, burde stoppe og beundre. I stedet for at komme til shows, så sidder de på trokken og scroller med attention span i 12 sekunder.
Med attention span i 12 sekunder. Fedt nok. Fuck Gaffa som crew. Det er jo yours truly, som har holdt den nede for Gaffa, i hvert fald siden 2014, med hip-hop content. Og jeg kan da sige, at jeg kniber en lille tåre hver eneste gang, at der er nogen, der siger, at alt de skriver derinde, det er dårligt. Ja, der sidder jo også ret dygtige kræfter, som for eksempel Killian Murphy og Nicoline Sten, og laver rigtig, rigtig fedt content til det her magasin. Nogle gange så laver man et fejltrin, det skal man selvfølgelig peges ud for, men skal det være på bekostning af at sige, at det hele er dårligt. Og det er jo sådan en dansker mentalitet, hvor man bare siger, at alt er whack, der er aldrig sket noget som helst godt for det her blad, det var kun godt, dengang Michael C.O.P. skrev i det, eller et eller andet. Fordi jeg synes, der har i hvert fald været mange søvnløse nætter, hvor jeg har siddet og prøvet at skrive en anmeldelse for på en eller anden måde at videre kommunikere, hvordan en koncert, som jeg synes har været hjerteblod for mig, og formidlet til jer, hvordan har været, hvor jeg så først er kommet i seng ved en 7-8-tiden. Fordi nogle gange så tager det rimelig lang tid at sætte sig til tastaturet og få skrevet noget fornuftigt. Sådan kan det gå. Til gengæld så er der eddermame været run på unge Peter Pagh i forhold til den her Tupac-trial. Der har faktisk været en lang periode, hvor jeg havde sagt nej til forskellige medier, og også nogle af dem, der havde været lidt knottende på mig, på grund af, at jeg havde drillet deres politiske kommentatorer, som muligvis også havde været tidligere ministre og den slags piberygende, noget sure mennesker. Men de ringede sgu igen nu her, fordi de var sådan, vi ved ikke rigtig noget om den her Tupac-trial. Ved du et eller andet om det? Og så kunne jeg da sige til P1, DR.dk, TV2 News, Heartbeats, Radio 4, hvem det nu ellers kan være. Jo, jeg har faktisk fulgt med i den her sag, siden jeg var 14-15 år gammel. Jeg har læst adskillige bøger om det. Jeg synes, det er rigtig spændende. Jeg har også været i New York på et tidspunkt, både for hans første skydning og i kølvandet på, at han blev skudt og jo afgik ved døden efterfølgende i 96. Så på den måde synes jeg har en eller anden form for formidler evne ud i det, og det er sgu meget fedt det der med, at man kommer ind og man får lov til at sige noget om det. Jeg så også Udollah, han var i fjerneren, han var i TV-avisen, også droppe tung science og få lov til at spille Hit 'em Up. Så galt gik det ikke for mig. Jeg spillede i stedet Keep Your Head Up, som jeg synes er et kongefedt nummer til dato. Men jeg fik også samtidig lov til at snakke, synes jeg, med nogle fornuftige mennesker, som gerne vil sætte sig ind i den her sag. Og der er det jo på en eller anden måde, kontra det, at man bare laver en top 11, synes jeg, det er lidt af vores pligt at både have sat os ind i sagen, og kunne sige et eller andet tenderende fornuftigt om det. Jeg kan anbefale meget Google Peter Triogård, Google Tupac, og så er jeg sikker på, at der kommer en masse af de her ting frem. Det er jo en sag, man kan følge løbende. Den kører for åben tv, fulde gardiner, alt er kørende. Og det er ligesom sidste skud i bøssen for at få afklaret, hvad gik det her egentlig ud på. Står det til trone, det her onklen til Orlando Anderson, altså ham her, Keefe D, passer det han siger? Har han selv inkrimineret sig så meget, at man også kan få ham dømt for det? I kan lige få lov at høre en lille bid fra dengang jeg var i P1, fordi det var jeg temmelig stolt af.
Retsmøderne begynder i dag, og det er anledningen til, at vi tager fat i den her ret bizarre sag og genoplever mindet om Tupac, hvad for en betydning han har. Selvom han ikke blev ret gammel, så er han for rigtig mange den mest indiskutabelt toneangivende hiphop-figur, der nærmest nogensinde har levet. Ikke?
Godt sagt.
Fortæl lige, jamen det er jo nærmest taget ud af din mund, Peter Triogård. Hvad var det, han kunne, Tupac?
Jamen, jeg tror, han kunne så mange ting, og kunne dem på én gang, at det var meget rørende. Der var nogen, der siger, at Bob Dylan har skrevet en sang til hver lejlighed. Og der har Tupac nok rappet et nummer til hver lejlighed. Altså om det er for at hylde sin mor, eller for at svine sine venner til, eller altså det er som om, han lever i sin følelsesvold, og formåede jo på sit ganske korte liv at lave uendelig meget musik, og også efterlade en hel masse musik, som jo, det bliver sådan nærmest en hiphoppens martyrium, hvor man tænker, hvad kunne det ikke være blevet til? Altså det er lidt ligesom, hvad nu hvis Martin Luther King var i live stadigvæk? Hvordan vil verden så være? Ikke? Der går man jo og tænker, hvordan vil Tupac... Ja, okay, ro på, Peter. Man kan godt høre, at jeg er i P1 og virkelig prøver at få noget Bob Dylan skubbet ind og prøver at forklare om ham. Men meget, meget fedt, at de vælger at tage det seriøst og vælger at prøve at dække kulturen også, i stedet for, at det kun bliver de her retskriminologer, eller hvem der nu kommer til at sige noget. Så det er jeg da pænt stolt af. Jeg håber, at der kommer til at være mere af sådan noget international hiphop-formidling, og egentlig også national. Altså, det er jo sjovt, at man kan lave et kæmpe festival i Næstved, hvor der kommer internationale kunstnere, og der er stort set ikke en eneste artikel, som kommer til at handle om det. Eller det nylig afviklede Roskilde Festival, hvor der jo også var nogle af de største graffiti-kunstnere i verden, og tilsyneladende uden, at der kommer til at ske andet, end at der kommer Instagram-opslag, og så det, jeg nu engang vælger at lave. Og jeg vil da også sige kæmpe skam til mig selv, at jeg i år ikke kom ned til Neverland. Pelle var syg, så det var lidt svært at komme afsted. Men ikke desto mindre, så kan jeg da konstatere, at det jo endnu en gang har været en bragende hiphop-succes, og altså en af de store kanoner, som de havde nede, det er jo DAZE, en fantastisk old school maler fra New York, en af de helt oprindelige, som var nede og lave en talk, og jeg synes, det der med, at CMP, han simpelthen trækker de her kapaciteter til Næstved, så de i 47 kan forklare, hvordan står hiphoppen til de her you teenage kids, det bliver sgu mere og mere rørende. Og det tjener ham virkelig til. Jeg var heldig selv at møde DAZE, fordi han udgav sammen med en boghandler, der hedder Le Petit Voyeur, så udgav han sådan et mini-magasin. Rigtig flot format. Det er sådan noget tenderende A3, stort og flot, meget pompøst, hvor der er alle mulige fede billeder, som DAZE har både malet og også fotograferet. Og jeg var så heldig, at jeg også mødte ham. Man kan se inde på Filterløs Hiphop Instagram, hvordan det gik ned. Det er bare vildt, at vi løbende har så mange fede ting, som sker i byen. Jeg har ikke engang fået nævnt endnu, at Armageddon kommer. Jeg tænker, vi laver en større Armageddon-optagsudsendelse i Filterløs Hiphop, sådan at man kan blive ordentligt indvarslet til en af de allermest kontinuerlige kulturhistoriske festivaler, der er, og især kulturhistorisk hiphop-festival, vil jeg sige. Det er, at Mads og Morten og deres slæng formår at lave det gang efter gang. Det tjener dem 100% til jer. Så sygt, at de gør det igen. Og så er vi vel ved at være der. Er det ikke nu, vi skal til at høre Skam2-interviewet? Jeg vil lige sige om det, at altså for det første foregår det jo på engelsk, fordi han jo er fra USA. For det andet, så foregår det ude foran Records, hvor jeg fik Sebastian til at optage den første del, hvor man kan se noget video fra det. Det kan man også inde på Instagram. Og så siger han på et tidspunkt, hey man, jeg går lige ind i butikken. Og han siger også på et tidspunkt, nu skal I faktisk holde op med at snakke, fordi jeg skal lukke om 2 minutter. Og jeg tænker, jeg har beholdt det i udsendelsen, fordi det er sgu meget sjovt. Så er det ligesom en del af det. Lyt med. Jeg synes, det, at han er bag jo både nogle fuldstændig sindssyge kreationer til Eminem, men at han samtidig selv er en forrygende udgivende rapper, at han bare er sådan et blæret hiphop-menneske, som tager verden rundt, det gør, at historien, synes jeg, taler for sig selv. Han var eddermame spændende at møde. Kæmpe skud til Streetmass for at have ham boende. Og han snakker også lidt om ham til sidst. Noget i tvivl om, hvor meget han egentlig må fortælle af det her. Så potentielt er det jo også lidt eksklusiv. Men lad os høre, hvad der sker.
I even got the underground shit that you did with Skam.
Hæphap, dropping bombs on your mom. And we're probably here with the most famous person that I can think of, where you both know his name and you've seen all of his art, but you may not know his face. Sir, can you introduce yourself?
What's up? Skam, S-K-A-M, 2 question mark. The 2 in the question mark are silent, but yes, he is correct.
Getting back to that, yeah. Do people often mispronounce your name?
All day. I mean, people be like, Skam2, yeah, I mean, it's just Skam, you know.
Yeah, I became aware of the name in the, I would say, late 90s, where it was like, circling where you saw it on Shabam Sadiq's record, you saw it on where you kind of had features places, and then also this really famous person had features on your Old World Disorder.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
Well, back then, like there was a guy named Rick Posada. He was at Electro Records, yeah. And my cousin introduced me to him, and he didn't like me when he first met me, but then, you know, whatever, we got cool. I was young, you know, and he was roommates with Paul Rosenberg. So he introduced me to Paul because Paul was a lawyer, so I needed like some like legal help. I was a teenager, you know what I mean, or maybe in my early 20s, and yeah, you know, he played me some of the music, and I liked it. So I was just like, yo, I'll get this to whoever it needs to get to, because I was pretty plugged in the New York underground at the time. So, you know, we got it to like Stretch Bob, Martin Moore Mayhem, like all the key college radio shows. Me and AL Skills got M Unsigned Hype in the Source. And, you know, we were just, you know, hanging out and just fucking doing songs, you know.
Yeah. Because my impression at that time was there was a lot of stuff popping off in the underground, and everybody was kind of coming into their own, where it didn't necessarily have to be like, where you didn't have to have the big production, you just had to have some flavor, right? And then you kind of had to build on the rep and see if you could get signed somewhere, see if you get a co-sign somewhere, and like you mentioned, Unsigned Hype was a big thing at that time.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, there were a lot of people that was their thing. They wanted a record deal. For me, I think, you know, I was pretty green, so I just wanted my respect. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to just hold my own, you know. But yeah, back then, if you went and you did, you know, like let's say you came to New Eurekan Poet Cafe like on an open mic, but you just kick some crazy shit, you know, people would talk about that for like weeks, months, maybe. You know, you could come back in there 2 months later, like, oh, yo, you was the guy, you were the guy from Copenhagen, right? They remember, you know. Everything, it wasn't so much of everything, so people really locked in, and so it was very important for when you did get that spot, that time, for you to just be on point and just kill it, because it would reverberate, you know what I mean? So that was the thing, and you know, if you started to know the right people, you got, you know, Unsigned Hype was definitely opened the doors for you to get a record deal or whatever have you. Like me personally, I wasn't looking for a record deal or whatever have you, because most of them suck. Most of the record deals suck. You talk to most of the guys now, they'll be like, yeah, you know, it was good we did it because now we can do things, but they weren't great, you know. But for the most part, yeah, you had it right. Yeah.
Understood that part, but it's really interesting because like all of the people that you mentioned, like AL Skills, those were my heroes. Looking up to them, like on you were looking them out, or like if they were on Eddie Ill and DL's tape, or if they were on Rockers Records or whatever, then you were like, yeah, this is the greatest shit ever. This is not Puffy stuff. This is not Death Row. This is the real hip hop. But tell us, Skam, where do you come from? What do you represent?
I grew up in Miami-Dade County, Carroll City. So, you know, I lived in New York on a few occasions, but, you know, like I grew up in Miami. So going back to New York, I was the guy from Miami. And back then, that was a lot of like, what? Fuck out of here, son. You know what I mean? Like they just, and you had to earn your respect. And so I was that guy. I was the guy with the black book because I used to carry it around always to oh, look, there's somebody. Look at my art, you know? That's how I got a lot of the gigs, was just straight up just running up on people, showing them my art. And I think I just got to a point where everybody knew I was from Miami. Like I always said it on the records and this, that, and the third. But back then, I wasn't locked in on like, you know, by my identity musically. And, you know, I was just still learning so much. But I think I repped Miami a lot, like in those days, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I guess that's about the gist of it, yeah. I was a Miami dude.
Do you know... Ja, fedt, mand.
Jeg har lige, der er 6 minutter.
Ja, kan vi tage slutningen måske?
Ja, helt sikkert. Bare lige prik til mig.
Yeah, we'll just do it, and then he'll come back for the later part, because I think that this part was awesome. I was thinking though, Miami, the only, like, if you weren't into necessarily Miami bass, like the only people I can think of is maybe Mother Superior, and then Dead Press also repped Miami for a while, but I don't know if they were from there.
No, they were from Tallahassee.
Okay.
Or I don't want to say like born and raised in Tallahassee, but I think that's where they met. And they're from Tallahassee. I can honestly say most of it. If I know people of color that spent time in Tallahassee, they definitely, I don't know what is going on in Tallahassee, but I do gather it's pretty racist out there. So it's like most of the people, they come out, they're just, you know, they're very on edge with you know, Caucasian shit going on. But, you know, they're always watching out for some shit. But, you know, me myself, man, honestly, like I was like Miami and Florida is two different places.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, Miami is like the Caribbean. You know, once you start driving up north, you know, Trump billboards and all that other shit. I guess it's a different place. Once you get away from the major cities and whatever have you. But yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough, man. You kind of stand on two legs in terms of at least what I know of your representation in art. I assume you got into hip hop early. But what was it? Were you drawn to the art side of it? Was the music side, or what was interesting for a young Skam?
Well, you know, it's funny. So, it depends on how you look at it. So I came to America like when I was about 4, and we were in New York. You know what I'm saying? New York, 80s. You know, so seeing breakdancing and graffiti on trains and like just having a TV, you know, like having my own little TV, like it just like opened my brain up like so much. Then I would say I was probably more into the art side, the graffiti side, and comic books, and I didn't really get into it musically until like high school, like junior high and high school, and that's when I started fucking around and like, okay. But yeah, I probably didn't take like making music seriously until shit, man, like well after high school, you know. But that's, you know, it started off like a friend of mine introduced me to like Redman and Common.
Oh shit.
And I was just like, I didn't really like Redman that much, but it was just something about it. But it was just because they were rapping not in the ABC way that I was used to hearing rap. And, you know, but then, you know, before I knew it, I was like, yo, I just couldn't stop playing the Redman shit, you know? And then I started diving when I would go to New York and the college radio, and man, the Source magazine, and I had to know everything, man. West Coast, like what's going on in Texas, this, that, and the third. Like a lot of people, when they say they're into hip hop, they're only talking about like New York, like 90s shit. And you ask them about like anything outside of that, they don't know anything, but they swear they know so much about hip hop. So I got sparked heavy on that. One of the first real influences, and I don't even want to say influence because it didn't do anything like made me want to implement it in my style. But I saw like we had like pool halls, you know, where you play pool.
Yeah.
And they would have like TVs on, and they play, you know, we had like little bootleg like video music stations, and when House of Pain dropped Jump Around, that video was getting so much burn, and I just used to see it all the time, but no sound. So I had no idea what the song sounded like, but I was just like, damn, who these white boys? I was like, yo, I don't know what's going on, but this shit looks live as fuck. And then one day in New York, like, I saw the video and heard the song, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Boom, da-dum, boom. And I was like, damn. And with that, the Common, the Red, like, I just dived in head first, man, and I just wanted to know everything, and I was just so on it, you know what I mean? Like, I used to be, like, on the train late at night, and I'd be like, yo, pick a line from any song. I bet I know it. Go ahead. Like, that was my game, you know? And I knew a lot of songs at the time. Now that's impossible. It's just way too much music.
I can't know all the shit, man.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, you know, that was the thing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people bond over that in hip-hop is that you have to know a bunch of stuff about it. It's like that's the connection part where I remember I've met people from the West Coast. I remember meeting people under the stairs, and they were like, oh, you know, you're Redman, man. Yeah, you're a real one. For like, you bond over Redman regardless of where you're from. Yeah. And also, I think you're right with the House of Pain where, like, because Everlast tried to break through as a hip-hopper, but when he like brought in like the Irish punk aesthetic, that's when like everything popped off for him. So the image is real important, which I think brings me to the next part in terms of Eminem, because you've made songs with him, collaborated with him, but also kind of introduced his aesthetic, his art image in hip-hop. How did that come about?
Well, the truth of the matter is, man, they, you know, like, I knew the EP, I knew a bunch of the songs, and when it came that time, you know, he got the deal, they were like, yo, you want to do the artwork? I was like, yeah. And they didn't really give me any guidelines. They were just like...
Why'd you ask you, sir? Huh? Why did they ask you?
I mean, we were hanging out a bit at the time. You know, whenever he would come to New York, you know, like, I'd be like, chaperone, like, you know, because he didn't really know New York like that. And, I mean, it's a big city. So, but we were kicking it, man. It was just, it was fun. He was a funny dude. And I knew, you know, M does art. Like, he can draw. Yeah. Like, that Re-Up album, he did that album cover. You know, a lot of people might not know that. But they were like, yo, you already know the music and we know you can draw. So it was just like, and so when that came about, there's a line where he's like, yo, if you ever see a video for this shit, I'll probably be dressed up like a mummy with my wrist slit. So that was what I ended up drawing, like, underneath the CD. It was like, it's a mummy getting attacked by pills, and if you look at his wrist, there's like a razor blade, like, like deep in his wrist, and so that's like, and he's like, the middle finger up, you know, that's like, my middle finger won't go down, how do I wave, you know? So it's like the broken middle finger, and the pills, it just came, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even know how to spell Vicodin, you know? Like, I did the artwork, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even bother to check how you spell Vicodin. But it just so happened, like, better, I spelled it right, so it was cool. Oh. It worked out, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was just one of those things. I think, man, back then, like, I was younger, and creatively, I just feel like my mind was just, I was just coming up with shit. But that one was easy, man, because he was just, you know, he was just such an off-the-wall guy. And there were things that I did for the album that Interscope was like, nah, that's a little too crazy. We're not using that.
Do you still have those?
They got finally released when they did the Slim Shady 20th anniversary thing. So we revealed that art for the first time with like some prints and in the packaging and shit like that. But just specifically the 20th anniversary one.
Yeah. We'll have to look for that, man. I think it worked out perfectly in terms of, because before that we hadn't really seen Slim Shady. We didn't know what he looked like. I think on the EP there was only like, I don't even know if there was a picture of him on the EP. It was like
what was it? Slim Shady EP? No, you know what? You're right. I don't think there was.
Yeah, and so it was kind of the introduction was both him looking kind of like a surfer dude, which I didn't think at all when I heard like his features, and then your art.
He didn't look like that when he did those features. That was after he got the deal. I remember going into Paul's office and he told me, he's like, he dyed his hair platinum blonde because I think he was living in LA at the time, working on the album, whatever. And I was just like, the fuck? Platinum blonde? And I was like, that shit sounded weird to me. But, and you know, even when I heard My Name Is for the first time, I was like, I told Paul, I was like, I don't know about this one. Because when you just hear the song without the visual context, especially at that point, I was like, yo, what is this? But when that shit dropped, the video dropped, and I saw him with the blonde hair, and I was like, oh, I get it. It clicked. I was like, oh, this makes sense. Like, they knew what they were doing. Okay, all right.
So for me, though, it was both the song, then the video. I remember I ordered the vinyl from a place in Copenhagen, and it arrived, and you pull out the inner sleeves, and you're like, oh, wow, this looks completely crazy. So you're like, it all kind of connected, and I think you helped, like, not necessarily launch Eminem, but definitely launch the image of him in terms of what should a person rapping like this look like.
I mean, yeah, I felt like that's what it was, man. To me, he was the equivalent of punk rock. You know what I'm saying, in rap form, and I kind of felt like I knew it was gonna connect. But like we didn't know like it was gonna connect like that. But you know, I felt like he was gonna be that voice for a bunch of people that like just didn't feel like they had that particular kind of voice, and then it was just like that times fucking 50.
And I think he definitely paid dues in terms of mentioning you on the Stand song, where like not a lot of people are mentioned on it. I think it's like pretty much
you're getting dissed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's mostly like Phil Collins and you on that track, where it's like there's Scam, and then reminds me of that Phil Collins song. How did that feel? Did it make any waves? Did ex-girlfriend call you? Was there anything where you're like, oh man, yeah?
The funny thing is, when they did that, I was staying in San Diego, and I was like mostly skateboarding. And him and Proof called me from Hawaii, and they played it on a landline, not even like a cellular phone. Like they had the number where I was staying, and they were like, "Yo, check this out." And I just heard like a couple lines, and I was like, I had no idea what the song was about. So I was like, oh, all right, cool. And they knew they had something special, but I didn't hear the whole song. I didn't get it. And, you know, Proof was like, yo, you could probably poly a deal with that. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to get a record deal with a shout out. Oh, sure. All right, bro. whatever the fuck you're talking about. Cool. But I think that the time where it really kind of, it was two times I could say where I was just like, huh, wow, all right, this is weird. Like, all right, was I took my little brother, they came to Atlanta, and I took my brother and like a couple of their friends to go see, you know, Eminem and 50 Cent and all that. And then when he did Stan, like all my brother's friends, they were like in junior high at the time. All of them were like, they were all looking at me, and I was just like, oh. I was like, all right. And then the other time was when he performed it with Phil Collins, and I was like, the whole world is watching this. I was like, oh, shit. It's a big deal, huh? I was like, all right, okay. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely opened the door for you to be able to talk to a lot of people. You know, you'd be like, hey, you know that song? And they go, yeah, that's me. And they'd be like, what? So, yeah, it's interesting that to be one of the few people that, if he mentioned your name and he's not, like, dissing the fuck out of you, like, yeah, it's pretty cool, gotta say.
For sure, man. And I also think it's both because you're a legend, but also because you're a really down-to-earth, mellow guy in terms of your legacy. I remember the first time we met in Hamburg, we were talking about the Eddie Ill and DL tapes.
Oh, yeah.
And just like having the experience of going through the, I don't know, underground hip-hop scene, the independent hip-hop scene, but kind of like, yeah, this might be something, but also the punk rock aesthetic of, we'll just do it because we think it's fun to do. What did you take away from being a 90s hip-hop kid? Was it the MCing or did the artwork kind of... because you're, I would assume now, more known for your artwork than your MCing.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Or do you still hold both of them as highly regarded?
I mean, at the end of the day, for me, they're both highly regarded. With the art, it's a tough thing. It's all about how you handle it and the way things are going and have gone very fucking different. So it's hard. Like for a new guy to come out trying to be a successful visual artist, you know, with AI, with this, that, and the third, like the budgets aren't good, the money isn't good, there's so much competition, it's harder. You got leverage if you have a legacy, and to have a legacy attached to big things, which I do, but it's always all been me, you know what I'm saying? Like even when I did that, back then people would tell you, oh, you got to do one thing. But nowadays it's like, oh, you only do one thing? You know? So I was, once again, just ahead of the time for whatever happened. Yeah, man, you're not going to beat the marketing and just that phenomena that was, you know, Marshall Mathers in that period of time. And, you know, to do the right thing at the right time with the right people, you know, the tribe thing, same thing, you know what I mean? Like that one was just like running up on people like, yo, look at my artwork. And, you know, I landed that job. Both of them, pay wasn't great, you know what I'm saying? But shit, I wasn't even going to do the Tribe album. My mom made me do that shit. I wasn't going to do it. I was like, yo, the pay sucks. Yeah. But you know, in the end, it was a good decision. You know, people appreciated those things. It's all me, man. So within every realm, I'm going to apply the same level of like care to whether it's lyrics and how do I feel like this lands, or are these the right colors? How's this lighting? And there was never a separation between church and state. But I do understand that shit. But also at the same time, man, like now we're so far apart from that. You could talk to some kids and they'd be like, oh, Eminem, oh yeah, my dad listens to that. You know what I mean? Like, and these people saying my dad listens to that, they're adults now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different thing. I've gone to situations where people were like, you do art? You know what I mean? Like, it was somebody one time would ask me who did one of my covers to one of my projects. And I was like, I did. And they were like, you did this? I was like, yeah, like, oh, you really don't know? I was like, oh, okay. So it's cool, but yeah, definitely, man. More people know me for the artwork. It doesn't bother me. It's part, as long as you fucking know something. You know what I mean? I think that's the end. I've been lucky enough to have something in these different eras, like Tribe, Drink Champs, you know. So, you know, we just keep going, trying to, you know, then Sammy Deluxe.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that because, first of all, I've seen the Beats, Rhymes and Live cover a million times. Oh, okay. And I always thought that was like an aesthetic way to do a Tribe, but it never connected to me that this was the guy that also did the Eminem artwork.
Oh, really?
And then when you look at it now, you can kind of see where, well, it's exactly the same guy. And I think you said at one point in your answer that you do you. And there's definitely something where it's so visually you, what you do, that it's almost like in these days of AI, you were kind of bringing an aesthetic that looks a little like that just before you could computer generate your way into music. So I feel that was incredible, first of all. And then to see you do the Sammy Deluxe cover with Conductor Williams,
yeah.
It was like, that was for me the full circle of how incredible it is to take an amazing artist from the US who kind of co-signs who I feel definitely is an amazing artist from Europe in Sammy Deluxe, where he's, for me at least, technically and also in terms of crowd and stuff, on the level of US artists now. And it kind of makes sense that he should have a cover on that level as well.
Well, shit, thank you.
Yeah, but thank you to both of you guys for doing that. What does Sammy say? How did he approach you about that cover?
So I have a project I'm working on with this producer, Fico One in Berlin, and I guess, you know, him and Sammy know each other, and when he was about to start work, I don't know if he's probably already working on it, and they were just talking, and he was like, yeah, I'm working on this, and you know, now we're looking for the artwork, and then Figo was like, hey, I'm working with Skam2, you know, and Sammy, you know, Sammy's heavy in the art, and so he knew who I was, and whatever, they made the intro. It's like we talked on Instagram. I had no idea. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know who Conductor Williams was, to be honest, you know. And, you know, he took me, you know, went over to his studio, and I was like, oh, shit. And, you know, but I was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you want an album cover? All right, cool. But when I went to his spot, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I was kind of hyped. Like, it kind of inspired me a little bit. And it's also to know that you're working for somebody that really fucks with art. Like he's really into art. You know what I mean? They're not just getting you because people say you're the person to get, or, you know what I mean? Like, so I felt like I'm doing this, and this is somebody that's going to really appreciate and get it. So, yeah, it's just a lot easier for me. I mean, I could do the job no matter what, but it's better in that way. It feels better to me when there's that level of appreciation with that. So, you know, I wanted to do. I don't do a lot of covers nowadays, but if I do something, I look at everything like, this needs to look good in a fucking art book. You know what I mean? My approach to it, can I do something that doesn't look like something I've done already, and I need it to look good? You know what I'm saying? That's my goal. Like, my goal was really low key. Like, I want this to be the best cover he's ever had. Like, that's, you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, like, what are we doing? Like, everything on that cover, that's like, a lot of that stuff is the equipment that Conductor actually uses. You know what I'm saying? So that was my approach with that. And like, my Photoshop file for that is bonkers. There's so much, like, yo, it's like 100+ layers and folders and this, that, and the third. Probably opens up slow, but yeah, it was good.
I think, yeah, close enough. Nah, har du 2 minutter?
Ja, jeg har 2 minutter.
Fair enough. I think we're closing up now. One of my ambitions in life is to have Mads do a new album. He MCs a lot. Whoa. He's really dope. He's probably one of the dopest we got.
About to be realized.
So I would say, are you going to do the cover for Mads?
He hasn't said anything yet, so if he says he wants it, it'll happen.
Otherwise, from Filterløs Hiphop, here's a please. It would be nice. Stream Mads back. Skam doing the cover. It'd be incredible. So what are you doing now? Got anyone you want to shout out?
Shout out Street Mass. Shout out Jacob Records. Shout out.
Det var Skam2. Kæmpe oplevelse at få lov at snakke med ham. Jeg synes, mega spændende for mig selv. Jeg vil da tænke hver eneste gang, jeg ser Drink Champs, for nu af, at det er min ven Skam2, som har lavet det der fede logo, som de engang har. Skud til Jakob for Records for at tage mig med til Hamburg. Vi var på den der tur, hvor vi mødte Sam med Deluxe. Alt det der til Blockpartiet kan man høre om i sidste afsnit. Og der mødte vi jo så også Skam, og er grunden til, at der var et fedt hookup til, at vi kunne lave det her interview. Så fedt, og som Mette siger i slutningen, husk at købe nogle plader nede ved Records, så kan det være, at der kommer nogle federe sponsorater i hus til den her lille hiphop podcast. Og så tænker jeg, at det er, jeg ved sgu ikke, men jeg har lyst til, at vi går ud på den her note. Det er sådan, at i Aarhus, der har der i mange år levet en svensk rapper. Han har boet i byen, han har rappet på engelsk, rappet på svensk, og vi jo, tror jeg, interageret med sine homies i byen på engelsk og svensk. Men jeg føler stadigvæk, at han er en del af det danske musikmiljø, det danske hiphop-miljø, og nu er han så gået bort. Det er en fyr, der hedder Fico One, og han er jo tydeligvis vanvittigt dygtig. Jeg har desværre først opdaget det sådan lidt på bagkant. Jeg kan godt høre, at det var en fed rapper, men jeg har egentlig ikke rigtig kendt til ham. Men uendeligt trist for en ung mand, at han skulle miste livet så tidligt. Jeg vil dog sige, at grunden til, at jeg synes, at den her podcast også fortjener, at han bliver hyldet her, det er, at jeg opdagede ham i Rappernes Bogklub, hvor de er i gang med at læse et, synes jeg, rigtig fedt digt. Det er en svensk poet, som hedder Thomas Tranströmer, tror jeg. Og han har simpelthen skrevet et meget, meget rørende digt, som de læser op. Først på dansk, så på engelsk. Og så kan de ikke rigtig få det læst op på svensk, jo, fordi at det er bare svært for os danskere at gøre. Og så prøver de først at spørge Loke Def, hey man, kan du ikke gøre det? Men det viser sig jo, at han er jo som sådan ikke fuldstændig svensk. Men han kender så til en anden, som jo kan læse det op, som er ham Fico her, som læser et, synes jeg, sindssygt rørende digt. Man kan høre i pulsen på det, at han tydeligvis er en stor poet selv. Og jeg tænker, at den her gang, der går vi altså ud med Fico One, som læser Thomas Tranströmers digt op, som hedder Minusgrader.
Minusgrader. Vi är på en fest som inte älskar oss. Till sist låter festen sin mask falla och visa sig som den verkligen är. En växtlis barngård. Kalla kolosser står på skenor i dimman. En krita har klottrat på vagnsdörrarna. Det får inte nämnas. Men här finns mycket undertryckt våld. Därför är detaljerna så tunga. Och så svårt att se det andra som också finns. En solkatt som flyttat sig på husväggen och glider genom den ovetande skogen av flimrande ansikten. Ett bibelord som aldrig skrevs. Kom till mig, ty är jag motsägelsefull som du själv. Imorgon arbetar jag i en annan stad och jag susar dit genom morgontimman som en stor svartblå cylinder. Orion hänger ovanför kärlen. Barn står i en tyst klunga och väntar på skolbussen. Barn som ingen ber för. Ljuset växer sakta som vårt hår.
Filterløs Hiphop er sponsoreret af hiphopbutikken Records. Brug rabatkoden FILTER5 på records.net og få 5% rabat på dit næste pladekøb.